It is indeed a pleasure to have this privilege to play here for you. We intend to give you a very fine program, so just settle back, relax, and enjoy the moment.
Good morning, good morning, good morning. Thank you, IG. Good morning, y'all. Good morning. All right, so I titled this Twitch stream, there's an update regarding Michael Slager. There's an update regarding a lot of things in terms of local action following the protest that took place this weekend. I'm only going to be holding this live mic for a second, y'all. So if you're watching me on Twitch, you're like, why she got two mics? I'm looking in two cameras right now because I just really do have to get this. Morning. Thank you, Twitch. Good morning, y'all. Good morning, Facebook. Good morning, YouTube, if you're watching there. I just had to get this off my chest. I said this yesterday as I was curating news information to share on Twitch, that I got confused a couple of times, especially on Sunday. I got confused in curating content because so much of the content that I wanted queued up from local lawmakers, a lot of the talking points, a lot of the leaders, a lot of the demonstrations eerily resemble what we saw last year. And that's actually not a good thing, right? It's not a good thing from our elected officials who are still dug in on certain viewpoints, dug in on certain from certain standpoints in terms of how to move this conversation forward. Good morning, Captain Glitter. So it's not a good thing that the muscle memory is kicking in with folks from I would say from moderates to corporate Democrats, all the way the most centrist Democrats, right? But the other thing that I'm finding problematic is here locally. I think I've made I've been very clear about my critique on movement spaces here in the South, specifically how they erased the leadership, or how they sidestepped the leadership of Black women, and I'm speaking specifically from my perspective, right? As someone who has built movement work for free, to a detriment to my health and safety. In the face of white violence by myself, this Black body has confronted that, right? So I know what it feels like to fight and advocate for things like electoral access and have whiteness come and usurp that moment, and try to take it back or try to own the moment. The other issue that I've been very vocal about is how do we reclaim the narrative, right? How do we take that narrative back? How do we frame this issue appropriately? And what I'm seeing time and time again is this inability or this unwillingness to frame this issue around what's going on here in Charleston. What's going on here in Charleston? I don't know why this has been about clapping back at police we know ain't shit. I don't know how this got reduced to histrionics and performance and kabuki theater, when I swear to God, I feel like I've been giving away the game for free. I feel like I've been giving away the game for free. Why is it that we're still talking about, or we're still lifting up specifically exclusively only the issues from other cities? Why are we not centering what's going on here? And I'm seeing Black leaders distance themselves from the Jason Cooper story. And I know that that's strategic. And when you try to ignore Jason Cooper because it's not a perfect clear-cut case, it shows me that you are unwilling. I'm seeing people leave Twitch. I don't know if anything's going on. Twitch, we cool in the comment section. I don't know what this is to ignore these issues. I don't know why it is that folks will not advocate for this issue. I'm just very frustrated. So I just wanted to hit up the live for whoever's going to watch And as I watch folks prepare, thank you. As I watch folks prepare, like watch the city prepare for violence, and as I see other cities prepare for violence, I just see countless missed opportunities. I'm kind of like, I gotta chill, because I think, I don't know, I get really, really frustrated. I get really, really, really frustrated with the inability to really center our issues here, and this refusal to talk about and lift up the names of people we lost here. And I'm seeing attacks on the Black church from Black leaders. Like, now, I don't know where we're going. I don't know what's going on. As an institution, in a post Mother Emanuel, we're going to attack the Black church. Is that, like, as all the criticism I have as someone who's left the Black church myself, we're going to do that. We're going to take this time. We're going to take this time now to talk about the Black church, right? I don't know. Let me stop. And you know what? I don't know. I'm getting a little frustrated, and this can't be about just personal grievances. I'm really some things never change, right? And I think what I'm seeing is that there's a taste and there's a penchant for seeing Black bodies go out and demonstrate. There's a taste and there's a penchant for seeing Black bodies hold this space and encounter this violence, but there's not a penchant or a taste for actual change and reform. There's not a penchant or a taste for any type of action items or any type of movement forward, right? There's not a taste for that. And it's just happening over and over and again, and I just get frustrated. And how many ways can I say? How many ways can I make myself available, or how many ways can I dispense this information on how many platforms? Whether it's podcasts, whether it's in an interview, whether it's on Twitch, whether it's on IG Live, whether it's in my stories, whether it's on the feed. I don't know how many ways can we continuously put this conversation out there and have it just usurped by just pure emotion and clicks and algorithms, and we're never getting to the crux of the issue. We're never fighting for justice. We're never fighting for reform. Not once have I heard anything about use of force from any leadership on the ground. Not once have I heard anything about use of force and reforming those laws and regulations. Not once have I seen anyone talk about what was in that audit, what was uncovered in that audit, and how that needs to be the crux of the issue, how that needs to be the center of our messaging on the ground, right? Now we got this thing where we're going to sit there and we're going to go at the Black church. We're going to go at conservative Blacks. That's what we're going to do. When we got the mic in front of our face, when we got a lot, now we getting a lot of likes and shit. Now we're gonna go out there. And so instead of staying on message, instead of really investigating and studying these issues and studying what you need by looking at not, if not neighboring states, looking at other states and figuring out what your message needs to be. We're gonna sit up here and we're gonna just enjoy the traction. That the traction won't lead to change, right? That this is not, likes and follows is not reform. And I really wish we would get the fuck off this hamster wheel. I really, 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 really do. I don't know what this saying facade. I don't know what you're saying. I was working. I don't know what that means. I really don't. I don't know. That's it. That's my rant. And maybe this is how it goes, right? People like me, maybe it goes like, okay, Mika, you've got other tools and resources by virtue of what you do for a living. Maybe that's your space, right? I do work that's movement led, and I help resource movements by supporting grassroots leadership. So maybe that's where I stay, right? Right? So maybe that's it, and then maybe I leave all the other shit. It's just all the other shit. But I'm gonna challenge my followers to please start digging deeper, intellectually start digging deeper, right? And not only that, start doing something. Start doing something. I purposely didn't leave any caption for the second graphic that I posted about Jamal Sutherland because I was tired. I was tired. Like I was tired of telling you to call Kristen Graziano. I'm tired of telling you to call the mayor. I'm tired of telling you to call Scarlett Wilson. I'm tired of telling you to call this person. And I don't think that's not what a black woman is supposed to do. Constantly show up in this violent ass week where we got this violent ass trial and this fuck shit ass judge reprimanding an elected official for being vocal about an issue, right? This violent ass verdict, and y'all are like what I'm seeing is like a lot of white folk on the sidelines waiting to see what we do, right? I've got men in my ear asking me to help, and it's like it's just really weird. It's just really weird how right now it's the same shit as last year. And white folk, no matter how many books I suggest, this is why I don't do the book club anymore. Hillary, how you doing? No matter how many books you tell white people to read, no matter how many events you hold, they will not really forfeit. They will not forfeit comfort to advance fight for black liberation and to fight for this. They will not do it beyond a fucking click and a rally that they can show up and perform shit and dress up and wear and bring a sign. Nothing. No one's talking about use of force legislation. No one's talking about how we can look at a state like a Maryland and figure out how we can adopt some of those use of force, some of that use of force language. If not, get the legislation through. How can we influence lawmakers? How can we lobby lawmakers? How can we lobby the Black Caucus at the State House? How can we lobby them to make change, right? And there's white people who follow this page, this account, this Twitch stream, BLM, Stand As One, whomever, right? It's white people with real influence, people who own multiple businesses, who know how to lobby for change, who know how to go to the newspaper and get an op-ed printed, who know how to leverage their investors, how to leverage their friends with wealth and with means to actually impact this image, right? I know for a fact there are white people with many resources, with venues, who have never said, you know what, I'm going to commit a portion of my whatever this year to this struggle. I'm going to create a platform for this struggle. I'm looking at Shovels and Rope. I'm looking at a Wine and Food. I'm looking at Zalbao Biscuit. I'm looking at a bunch of places that could create, right? That could create Sightsee. I'm looking at a couple places that really could commit to systemic change and structural change. But we don't do that. We do a lot of performative things and get a lot of hand wringing and excuses. People who have literal currency, people who have literal ability to move things in Charleston, who are just committed to clicks, likes, and some performative shit that ain't enough. It's not enough. Like, when are we going to talk about use of force? How much more content I got to record, edit, and how much I got to keep saying this? How many more times till somebody says, you know what, let's talk about fucking use of force when we're at a rally? How many more times? And white folk, when are you going to wake up and dig deeper and figure this shit out? How many more t-shirts you going to buy? How much more black art you going to purchase? Before we wake up and say, you know what, we gotta change this thing at the root. We gotta actually attack this thing at the root. We got to work to move South Carolina forward. And we just love the fucking rally, but we don't want no motherfucking change. And you want this black body and you want Marcus's black body. You want them to show up and put themselves in danger. Right? So you can come out with a t-shirt and some really nice pictures with your DSLR. That's what we need. Then you want to say something about this trial, not understanding how much pain and trauma is triggered by watching this motherfucking verdict, watching this deliberation go into another day and on pins and needles all day about what's happening. Y'all still haven't learned. Y'all still haven't seen that this is about a fucking fight for humanity. Y'all still haven't seen that shit. We literally are fighting to make people realize, to make the oppressive power structure understand that we're human. I know y'all didn't never want us to be free, right? That was never part of the plan, was for black people to be free. But we're going to fight for our liberation. And it's beyond what you see. It's like, it's deeper than that. I have yet to see any discussion about how you can change this. And for all the business owners saying, well, I can't be political about business. Who's going to stop you from going to the state house? Who's going to stop you from getting on that phone, using your business capital to get fucking FaceTime with a lawmaker? How is that going to be front page news if you do that? If you go ahead and you go out there and you try to lobby for change, right? Or you help people create whatever language, or help people create the vehicles and the tools. Give the same shit y'all lobby for when you want a new brewery to pop up in Charleston. The same way y'all lobby for when you want a venue, when you want access to a venue. The same way you lobby for, well, I want this festival to be on this side of town. The same way you lobby for that shit, somehow you don't know how to lobby for. You don't know how to lobby for Black lives. You don't know how to put those tools in the hands of the marginalized communities you purport to support, to fight for. And I'm really frustrated. I'm very frustrated because this shit is still a spectacle. This shit is still a spectator sport, and I'm not going to treat it as such. Let's start talking about the real issues. We need reform around use of force. We need accountability around use of force. Shit, I had a whole show yesterday about body cams. And dash cams and FOIA requests not being satisfied. And we're not talking about that. And for some reason, we're afraid to talk about Jason Cooper. He don't have to be perfect, y'all. Newsflash. He don't have to be perfect. We need to know what happened with Jason Cooper. If it comes out and we see some more unsavory details about what happened with Jason Cooper, so what? We need transparency. We need to know what the fuck happened. Why are we taking the police at their word? Why are we believing the police when we saw what Fade and Santana caught on video? When they're willing to lie and falsify police reports and also plant evidence next to a body. Walter Scott. Why are we not lifting up Jason Cooper's name? Because it's messy? Okay. So for every Jason Cooper, bring up a Zachary Hammond then. We need to know what happened. The police should not be able to kill Black people with impunity, period. Start making that the crux of the issue, right? I'm going to get off Instagram and keep on my damn Twitch channel. But that's my rant. Instagram. I'm over it. I'm so over it. I'm real over it. Right? When they want a bike path, right? Pedestrian bridges. White folk know how to be real nimble and real. Hold on, y'all. Hold on. I'm telling you, I don't know. I woke up very upset. I woke up upset because how Black women are expected to show up in this space in this time. And I'm waking up to seeing a grown ass elected official, Maxine Waters, be chastised by a judge for exercising her First Amendment right. Like, she ain't the only high profile, but the way that Black women are so disrespected in this fucking country is ridiculous. It's ridiculous. I'm sorry, that was unorthodox. I'm trying to live stream in 2 places until I get the software. I don't know. Part of it is just Mika, you frustrated and you just need to let it out. Part of it is I am tired of seeing this shit, history repeat itself. It's the same shit over and over again. And if you think I'm going to create book clubs and programming around how y'all can get, when for years I've been putting this information out for years, and I want to hear people say, well, you don't do it right. You don't do it this way. You don't do it that way. I really want to know how many more motherfucking ways I can do. I did it while I was at a nonprofit. I did it when I left a nonprofit. I did it as leader of Women's March. I did it in podcast form. I did it on the airwaves. I did it on Facebook Live. I did it on IG Live. I did it on Periscope. I had the guests. I had the scholars. I had the authors. I showed up. I led protests. They erased it. You won't see it printed in the Post and Courier. I led movement work. They erased it. They won't report about it. The fucking Charleston Chronicle wouldn't fuck with me really heavy except for Barney. Like nothing would be printed. I ghost wrote. I fucking I don't understand how many more ways do y'all want to hear this. What it comes down to it is y'all want this shit sugar fucking coated. That's it. People want this shit sugar fucking coated. You don't want change. You don't. You want to look like you want change. It's a bunch of Coca-Colas and Deltas running around here doing what's politically expedient so as not to look like a hate monger or someone who sympathizes with the alt-right. There's a lot of Coca-Colas and Delta out here just doing what they got to do performative wise to come so they won't look like the enemy. Because if you really wanted change, we would see it. It's that simple. And then you treating this week like it's a fucking like Sunday was the kickoff of a summer fucking festival. A summer like Sunday was the kickoff of a summer festival. Not one person is asking for reform. Not one person is saying, hey, and I know something is changing in terms of the appetite for how I talk. I've been peeped at, right? Beyond the shadow ban. So I know that the appetite for how I talk in Charleston is wearing folks thin. That's how I know this shit is fuck shit. That's how I know this shit is fuck shit. I knew it last year. When people ran across my back to get to somebody else, to that G dude with the fucking silky, with the velvet silky, with the velvet wave cap. I remember how y'all would run, you would knock me down just to get to a dude who, when he got in the front of a mic, started talking about animal rights. So I knew then. I knew when y'all tried to make Michael Better a fucking Black Panther, I knew then that y'all really wasn't about no reform. I knew that. When you would knock down a Courtney Hicks or you would run past a Candace Livingston, right? When you would run past them two just to get to a mediocre black dude who just happened to kneel and cry, and that made him a movement leader, right? I knew that this is it. It's a wrap for people like you, Mika. It's a wrap for people with political science degrees. It's a wrap for people who for people who leverage the archive. It's a wrap for you. Oh, you read books? Nah. When's the next rally? When's the next protest? Oh, you reading the book? Oh, cool. Oh, it's authored by black women? Oh, cool. Right? I get fucking tired. I get tired, and then this black body's supposed to come out and just dispense the shit you want to hear. Nah, the shit ain't supposed to be comfortable. This shit ain't supposed to be comfortable. You're supposed to forfeit something. And I really want our younger leaders to please start crafting calls to action with every organized action. You got to craft, not and when I'm talking to them, I can't keep, you have to have calls to action. Period. Make everybody take out their cell phone. If you got 100 people showing up, make all 100 people show up, open up their cell phone, all of them. Either take down the email address or point them to your page that has the link. Point them to your, if it's not your page, then somebody's page. Point them to a page that has the email already written. Have them send out or get the email address from that. Have them send out and fire off email right there on the spot. You don't need no QR code for that. You don't need no QR code. You could text We Matter. Yup, that too. But I'm talking about locally, right here. Right here. You could just literally point people to your page and tell them, hey, fill this out. Do this. Right? You already got your phone out. That's a layup. That's an alley-oop. You got your phone out. So why not leverage that time? Why not? I don't know. I'm gonna keep fighting, and all I know is that I'm organizing efforts in New York and Louisville this week, and several campuses. That's my life. I do a lot of work that doesn't exist in Charleston because Charleston don't have an appetite for cogent, like, political nothing. They want their festivals back, and they want to look like they give a fuck about Black lives while being able to drink their lattes. I'm just tired. And you want Black people to take up all this space and do all this work that is dangerous, right? You got like that is dangerous work to do. And yet y'all can't even, like, do your due diligence and call a lawmaker. Y'all can't even, like, talk about use of force and what reforms look like. I don't know. And watch Black women. Watch as Black women, how we're gonna be the ones to incur the most harm this week. We already see it with Maxine Waters. How dare you even try to petition for a mistrial because a Black lawmaker went to the streets and told people, yeah, we need to stay in the streets. You goddamn right we need to stay in these streets. If that verdict comes back guilty, we need to stay in the fucking streets. Because guess what? That verdict in Minneapolis don't got shit to do with why we don't have dash cam footage from the Jason Cooper shooting. That verdict that we might see, if there is a guilty, whether it's an acquittal or guilty, we need to be advocating for change here. And that's what I don't understand. So if we get a not guilty, what happens? What happens here? What happens here if we get a not guilty? What if we get a guilty plea? If we get a guilty verdict or whatever, what happens? Tell me what happened. What's the next step here? Right? What's the next step? Right? Unfortunately. And that's why I'm frustrated. This is why I'm not falling over myself to make a book club for people. And I guess I could. I know maybe Mika, you're doing it wrong. You got to fix. Anything can be improved. But I felt it was too much output for this much return. The ROI just didn't mean nothing to me. And I'm gonna run around here. Shout out to my friend Hillary. Hillary and I spending so much time trying to monetize this, trying to make it sustainable. And I'm like, no, because people gonna think that they read the book, then that makes them less racist. Meanwhile, you still upholding the very shit that causes us harm. The weather. The headline. So today's headline, only headline I really care about is this one right here. Slager's 20-year sentence was upheld. So his petition to ask the judge to overturn his 20-year civil rights violation conviction was denied. That's actually a good bit of news in terms of, while I don't believe in the carceral state, while I don't want to uphold the carceral state, the fact that this man was not exonerated or let free to roam free and just get out, to me is a victory. It's something that it gives me a little bit of peace this morning. So that's the one headline on this page that I really, there's also here, this is their framing of the Chauvin trial. That's fuck shit again, ex-cop. They love saying ex-cop. And how many more characters would it take to just put Chauvin in here? Like, right? Chauvin murder case goes to jury. Chauvin murder case goes to jury. Chauvin trial goes to jury. But they do this on purpose, right? As not to alienate their white readership who subscribes to the papers. All right. Let's go to YouTube. One thing I'm going to work on too is I'm not going to be presenting too much mainstream white journalism ever. Like, I'm going to cut that down a lot. And so I'm going to center Black media wherever it is, or stick to what I consume personally. So that's a Democracy Now! And a myriad of other progressive outlets. But specifically, I'm going to find Black media to lift up, whether it's podcast form, whatever it is. Of course, Vice News is okay as well. Like, I'm going to stop with the CBSs and the NBCs unless it's an appearance by a local lawmaker. I'm going to try to do better by that. Of course, like, I'm not going to like make this like create like, oh, this is a moratorium on all mainstream media, but I think people got things fucked up. Like, we really do I need to be lifting up other forms of media that to me are important. But let's go to local news. This is what caught my eye this morning. Waking up to this news, and this was news that happened yesterday. But yeah.
And right here in the Low Country, leaders are preparing for all outcomes of that verdict. News 2's Katie Turner was there as leaders from churches, the city of Charleston, as well as other law.
This is what I'm talking about. Like, I'm seeing people like talk shit about the Black church. We're not doing that. And that's what I'm saying. Like, what part of the game is that we like?
Enforcement agencies made a plea for justice. She joins us now in the studio. And Katie, these leaders say this is another opportunity for Charleston to show its true colors.
That's right, Carolyn. The city has felt the share of racial injustice from police shootings to the murder of the 9 innocent churchgoers. These leaders say Charleston has always come through on the other side unified. Injustice dating back centuries, many feeling their voices were never heard.
No justice, no peace.
The death of George Floyd, a tipping point, sparking protests across the nation.
It was the height of racial injustice, in my humble personal opinion.
For more than a year, the Holy City has been a battleground as thousands fight for justice.
The status quo has to change, and we're going to change it.
Lessons learned from mistakes made.
To get through this safely, peacefully, without violence in our city. And that's going to take a lot of work.
Charleston Police Chief Luther Reynolds has been preparing his department to better handle protests and demonstrations.
Like what really got me upset initially was, like, we have a nation. I'm going to show another clip from another city. We have a nation that's preparing for violence, preparing for protests, instead of a nation that's prepared to stop this from happening. Imagine living in a world, this is what kind of fuels my outrage, right? Imagine living in a world where businesses are boarding up because they know typically the outcome is, well, they're probably going to let the cop off. It's probably going to be a hung jury. How many times have we heard hung jury or mistrial this week, right? It's almost like that's what people want. They want that friction and that tension that come like when justice is denied, right? And I'm not saying that a conviction in this carceral state is the ultimate justice. I'm not implying that, but I'm saying with what we got, right? The semblance of justice, right? Imagine having justice denied be the expected outcome. That's the kind of world we live in. So where you have the mayor, the chief, who can't afford to come off looking soft on crime, who can't come off looking like they've lost control of the city, right? We've got them out there already jumping in front, talking about, oh, we want to work kumbaya, and how they use, right? Instead of talking about how the Black churches let us down here, we know why the Black church is doing what they're doing. If you Black and you really study, you doing your reading, you understand why the Black church is standing shoulder to shoulder with the mayor at this time. You'd understand that, right? So I'm gonna let them off the hook for a second, right? I'm gonna let my people off the hook because we got us, right? We're gonna talk about family business at home. We ain't gonna talk about that shit in the street. But what we're gonna talk about though is how this chief and this mayor will use the Black church, right, to show, hey, no, we've got this coalition, this multicultural coalition of faith leaders who don't want Black people to riot, who don't want Black people to either protest or to rebel, because we don't use riot. We don't use that. I'm not going to use it. We're going to use rebellion. We're going to use uprising, right? We're going to use resistance. We're going to have these Black folk and weaponize these Black folk against other Black folk who want justice instead of Chief Reynolds, telling us why you won't release the body cam footage from the Jason Cooper shooting. Instead of, Scarlett Wilson, you telling us why you won't tell us what happened, or why SLED, you won't tell us what happened to Jamal Sutherland's body while in custody at Al Cannon. Instead of, right, talking about what you're really going to do behind the use of force, how you explicitly, Chief Reynolds, under your watch, refused to retain footage from previous stops, how there was no retention of any video purposefully. You're not going to tell us, right? You're going to not retain that, and now you're saying, oh, we're going to retain footage with the caveat being, we ain't never going to release that shit though. Right? That's what this news conference was missing, was where are we now? 365 days later, where is the reform? Where are the changes? 365 later. Where is it? But you boarding up your motherfucking restaurant.
Demonstrations after the unrest last spring.
Every week, there's been discussions, there's been outreach, there's been initiatives.
I just want to know who they're reaching out to.
And there's a lot of people working towards keeping our city safe.
Now with a verdict in Floyd's murder case coming soon, community leaders want voices to be heard without violence.
I'm asking us to come together in a way that we become the light on the hill that represents what unity is in difficult times.
I'm not gonna go at this clergy that's here, right? I'm not gonna go after them because I know what's going on. I'm gonna go after the people who constantly traffic in this nonsense, right? I'm gonna go after the people who actually have power in this position. And trust me, it ain't any of the black clergy here, right? It ain't any of the black clergy here, right? And also the power you don't see here, right? So the business interests who've been on Tecklenburg's neck, the business interest that's been on Chief Reynolds' neck, telling them what they need to do. You need to get out and get in front of this. You need to do this. You need to do X, Y, and Z. It's the strings you don't see. It's the strings, the marionette strings you don't see in this picture, in this visual right here. That's the other part. That's who I'm gonna talk to. Black folk ain't got no power. So when they get proximate to power, this is what they do. I'm not interested in it. Ain't no gain in bashing black people for doing what they doing right here. They ain't no gain. Ain't no good upside for my black ass to do that. Not a no post Dylan Roof, Mother Emanuel Charleston, right? But it's the powers that be that constantly trafficking this nonsense, right?
Making it known that the fight is far from over, but steps are being taken in the right direction.
Everybody's got to play a role in navigating through this really difficult time together.
From law enforcement to faith leaders and city officials, the goal is the same, working to become a more unified Charleston.
We will come together as a community. We will be united. Whether we agree or disagree on this particular verdict, we will march forward to bring progress.
Show me. Okay, so B-Man, you said, have y'all checked out Margaret Kimberly and Glenn Ford from Black Agenda Report? Yeah. Absolutely. Thank you, B-Man. That's a good suggestion for other people to take advantage of.
Progress.
For everyone to take advantage of,
Progress to the city of Charleston and our citizens.
Police say they'll have extra patrols in place this week and weekend to make sure everybody stays safe. Live in studio, I'm Katie Turner.
And that's the other thing too. If people think they're gonna Charleston is a different kind of animal. I really hope people understand that, right? Charleston's a different kind of animal. They even if you come in from another city and you become the police chief here, the way they put down rebellion here is in the DNA of the city. The way they are willing to put down rebellion will be vicious, will be real, right? So prepare for that, right? Prepare for that. And I know people probably just tired of hearing me say that, but if I'm going to go to Roland Martin right now because I thought that this was a really interesting clip.
They were in trial or while?
It's 13 minutes long. We're not going to watch the whole 13 minutes. But let me get past this little commercial in the beginning. This is in regards to the Chauvin trial yesterday, and Derek Chauvin's defense attorney trying to petition for or lobby for, I don't know what the terminology is, but calling for a mistrial because Maxine Waters dared to open her mouth.
Maxine Waters was in Minneapolis, and she said this to protesters.
And so, yes, I would like to see the bill in Congress pass on police reform, but I know that the right wing, the racists, are opposed to it, and I don't know what's going to happen to it, but I know this: we've got to stay in the street, and we've got to demand justice.
As a black man, despite all of the efforts, I feel like nothing changes, and George Floyd is waking so many people up. Yet nothing has happened, despite the rhetoric. Like, what needs to happen that's different?
Yeah, y'all hear that? Like, that's how I feel. He said, as a black man, nothing changes, right? I'm gonna turn it up a little bit more. I don't know if y'all can hear it more, but I'm gonna rewind that and see if y'all can hear that a little bit. Cause this is I never even paid attention to this question right here. But listen to this.
As a black man, despite all of the efforts, I feel like nothing changes. And George Floyd is waking so many people up. Yet nothing has happened, despite the rhetoric. Like, what?
I feel like George Floyd is waking so many people up, and he said, as a black man, nothing changes. I feel like George Floyd has woken people up, but where are the changes? It's just rhetoric.
What needs to happen that's different this year?
What needs to happen that's different this year?
Well, we're looking for a guilty verdict. We're looking for a guilty verdict, and we're looking to see if all of the talk that took place and has been taking place after they saw what happened to George Floyd, if nothing does not happen, then we know that we've got to not only stay in the street, but we've got to fight for justice. But I am very hopeful, and I hope that we're going to get a verdict that will say guilty, guilty, guilty. And if we don't...
Okay, so that's what she said in a nutshell. I'm going to fast forward. Then she goes on and said we need to stay in the streets if we don't get justice, and we need to continue to be confrontational. There's nothing incendiary about what she said, right? But now I want to fast forward to when Roland Martin throws it to his three panelists.
So those comments by Congresswoman Maxine Waters came into the courtroom today. This is what Judge Peter Cahill had to say.
This country hates black women, especially free black women. And I'm telling y'all, I can present y'all so many, every fucking century, there's this backlash against free black women. There's a backlash, there's a resistance. There's a reason why my page is being banned and reported, right? There's a reason why my voice is not lifted up as a voice, right? Like, it's a reason why. This country hates a free black woman. You're supposed to be an affable mammy. You're supposed to be either a caricature or a servant. You are not supposed to have political points of view. You're not supposed to be incendiary. You're not supposed to be sexy. You're not supposed to be voluptuous. You're not supposed to be loud. You're not supposed to be ugly. You're not supposed to be... You can't be shit in this fucking country if you're a black woman. Imagine this lawmaker making it to the courtroom, but all the other lawmakers who literally sit up on a white nationalist TV show, none of them get called into the court and are used as an argument for a mistrial. But a black woman, America hates a black free woman. I swear to God, y'all hate us.
Situation. Obviously, I spend my weekend preparing for closing remarks, and I certainly can supplement the record with news articles. I can supplement the record with the storylines of the particular shows that were brought to my attention. So I'm making it to note the record at this particular...
You're right, Saint Facade. It doesn't. That's why, like, one of the panelists actually speaks to your point about what a verdict does and doesn't do. Especially if you're here in Charleston. That verdict, the outcomes of any other trials, Adam Toledo, doesn't mean... We've got changes that we need to be fighting for here. Here. I just had a whole show yesterday on that body cam legislation and the holes that were poked through that to make sure that we don't get justice, right? Fleming did a follow-up piece. Fleming Smith did a follow-up piece about it. Right? We got stuff here that we need to fight for. Right? And this verdict is not a panacea for anything that we're dealing with here systemically here in Charleston.
Particular point, and I can certainly supplement.
Yeah, you can supplement the record with whatever media reports. I'm aware of the media reports. I'm aware that Congresswoman Waters was talking specifically about this trial and about
look at that. Look at that. Look at this bullshit. Look at this. Look at this bullshit. Now I'm getting
acceptability of anything less than a murder conviction, and talk about being confrontational. But you can submit the press articles about that. This goes back.
Listen to this overseer. Excuse me. Listen to this descendant of an enslaver. Reprimand an elected official, a grown ass woman.
To what I've been saying from the beginning, I wish elected officials would stop talking about this case, especially in a manner that is disrespectful to the rule of law and to the judicial branch and our function. I think if they
see the hate in my
want to
comments,
give their opinions, they should do so in a respectful and in a manner that is consistent with their oath to the Constitution, to respect a co-equal branch of government. Their failure to do so, I think, is abhorrent, but I don't think it has prejudiced us with additional material that would prejudice this jury. They have been told not to watch the news. I trust they are following those instructions, and that there is not in any way a prejudice to the defendant. Beyond
dude could have sequestered the jury, right? So like instead of taking all the precautions he needs to take to make sure that the jury is not influenced by the media, right? Because it ain't just Maxine Waters, right? Dude, you could have just sequestered the jury, right? That like you had the power to do that, but you didn't do your shit. So now you wanna talk about Maxine Waters, you wanna name check her. Fuck you.
on the articles that we're talking specifically about the facts of this case, a congresswoman's opinion really doesn't matter a whole lot.
Like that's like a double-edged swipe, right? So one way he's saying that that ain't enough for a mistrial, but the other part he's saying he's trying to devalue the sentiments of Maxine Waters. So that's that double-edged bullshit. So while I'm somewhat relieved that he didn't fall for that bullshit, I am outraged that he would name check someone. And also try to diminish her presence in the black community and her willingness to go out into the forefront, her willingness to go on the front lines and show solidarity and support for organizers and those engaged in rebellion on the ground in Minneapolis. How dare he?
Terrain, I'm sorry. What the hell was the judge talking about right there? As if Maxine Waters doesn't have the right to give her opinion?
I have no idea. He's talking about a congresswoman speaking to uphold the Constitution, and the right to protest is a constitutional right.
Come on.
These people have the right to gather and to speak their minds and their hearts in a civil way. He can't quiet her. So if you listen to the news all weekend on every conservative talk radio show, you heard commentators talking about the verdict and what was going to happen and people preparing for anticipated riots. You heard different people talking about this case. So why should Maxine Waters have to be silent? It makes no sense. This judicial officer, he overstepped the line by trying,
as they often do, and we need to talk about the courts,
to dictate to another branch of government what they should do. When Maxine Waters, she never spoke of the court. She never spoke of him personally.
Come on.
So he was far outside of the scope of what he should be doing from the bench today.
But Monique, even if she did, she's not a participant in the trial. I mean, so then to say that, oh, you may now have a basis of an appeal?
There's no basis for appeal based on what Maxine Waters said.
And I want to leave it there because I invite y'all to go back and check out this clip. I have my criticism about Roland Martin for sure, right? But there's a lot of good material and a lot of good voices that happen to be on the show. And I think it's important. And for all my criticism of Roland Martin, believe me, mainstream media, please, at least be centering Black issues and centering Black, Black scholarship, Black legal opinion. Like, all that matters to me right now. I don't give a fuck about some sort of like bipartisan panel on CNN about, oh, what do you think, ex-Republican congressman that was known to be a racist, what do you think about? I don't give a fuck about his opinion, right? Or looking like, I want to hear Black people, and just so you know too, not all three of these people have the same viewpoints. So again, Black opinion and black opinion, I think I popped my braces talking so much today. Black opinion and black thought is not a monolith, right? We know this. We're not going to keep saying that over and over again. Let me go back. There might have been something else. Other thing I want us to keep our eye on was this right here.
The bill does.
So just like every stage in our government's history, right? I'm going to just take it back as far as Reconstruction, right? So the fall of slavery, right? At the end of the Civil War, the fall of slavery, what we saw what's arguably the most progressive period in American history was Reconstruction, right? So Reconstruction was ushered in. And what you saw really quickly was a backlash to Black folks starting to gain what looked like equality, what looked like an equal footing and representation in terms of elected government, in terms of rights and whatnot, right? You started to see a backlash immediately. So after every pivotal moment in history where the descendants of the formerly enslaved started to gain ground, right, and get closer to what looks like civil rights, and we'll get closer to justice, there's a swift backlash, and we're seeing that now. That's why you can't get complacent after Democrats win. You can't get complacent because the backlash, and you saw it quickly, the voting, the attack on the right to vote and restricting access to the ballot, right? Voter ID laws, a lot of aggressive legislation, anti-trans legislation, the attacks on Roe versus Wade, all of that stuff starts to become front and center. Like, you see every state as if it was scripted, and it was. Every state just quickly every red state starts quickly put out all this legislation. And Florida yesterday, like, this was huge. This is one to watch. I'm real quick before I play this little bit from Ron DeSantis, the governor of Florida. Old Man Rand, you said he wasn't wrong to say her impact on the court is irrelevant. Yeah, he wasn't wrong literally. I think that had double meaning though. So I think he was trying to take a swipe at Maxine Waters. If you saw his mannerisms, like the words of a congresswoman doesn't really mean much. It was a way to diminish that Black woman's power, because she did have political power, so much so you brought her into your courtroom. So I'm gonna push back on that. He wasn't wrong, like if you look at the words and you read them verbatim, Old Man Rand, but he definitely was taking a swipe at Maxine Waters and trying to diminish her impact on either movement spaces or just in general, right? So he name checked her specifically, and that was intentional. So does that make any sense? And then you go on to say, Old Man Rand, where he was wrong in his previous statements, injecting his opinion about her statements. Yes. That being said, if he was like, you're right. No. We're not saying, see, it's not either or. It wasn't about that. So his defense attorney brought forth the motion for a mistrial, right? All he had to say, a motion denied, right? And he could say, well, outside influence, really, I don't think that has anything to do with the trial. He could have said that. But more importantly, what you're not seeing is that opinion, it wasn't just about that opinion, what he said. See, this is what we got to start doing, right? So explicit violence and explicit harm versus like what's implied, right? And I'm not asking you to read somebody's mind. I'm telling you that him name checking when old man ran, all he had to do was sequester the jury. That's all he had to do. So fuck all that, Maxine Waters name checking her on purpose. Sequester your jury. You're a whole ass judge, right? And the defense attorney asked for that outright previously. So do your job. Stop worrying about people doing their job in their way, however they're doing it. And as the panelist said, right, and it's not me yelling at you, old man Rand, it's just me venting. Like, as the panelist said, this is the First Amendment right. And she ain't the only one that's been talking. She's the one on the left. She's the visible one. She's the one you saw on the streets talking, right? But you're saying, but I think he still had to reply to the motion. Yeah, you reply to it. You don't have to name check Maxine. Yeah, that was intentional. That was intentional. I don't know what you're doing there. I don't know what gymnastics you're doing there. Literally, she's not the only high profile elected official that's been talking about this case in very strong ways. Literally, she's not, right? So he's making an example of Maxine Waters. He's trying to diminish her and take a swipe at her. Does that mean yeah, right? So that's why, and thank you for saying, and I ain't trying to get you to agree with me. I'm just saying, like, don't fall for that. It ain't about Maxine Waters. If you don't want undue influence on your jury, exercise your power as a judge and sequester the jury. Why you blame like literally she's not the only person talking about this case. And I can turn on Fox right now, or you know what I mean? I could Google Lindsey Graham. I'm sure someone had, like, how many people called for her to be expelled? Marjorie Taylor Greene now is calling for her to be expelled. She's putting forth papers to expel Maxine Waters. While she's a freshman congresswoman, she done raised $3 million off of hate. She done raised $3 million. So she's got influence too. Like, so what we doing? What we doing with this? It's a way, and as a black woman, and I know when someone's trying to check you. Trust me, it's a reason why Mika is not in Cola, not in Columbia, sitting up there being an operative for whoever, for whatever, because I was already labeled a bridge burner 4 or 5 years ago. That was what a white man told me. You're a bridge burner. You think I can shake that? You think I can shake those that designation? So there's a way to frame black women as always being militant, as being too aggressive, to being untrustworthy, unhinged. There's a deliberate effort to always frame black women, especially passionate black women, as being unhinged and incapable of occupying certain spaces and disqualifying them. And that's something that I'm all too familiar with, if that makes any sense. Yeah. Right. Yeah. All right. So that's it. Yeah, and the defense was grasping at straws. Yeah. Yeah, exactly. Marjorie Taylor Greene, hey Kia. Yep, absolutely. But Ron DeSantis right here signs an anti-riot bill. We're going to play this a little bit. And this is what we got to watch out. This is what we got to watch out for here.
Disorder and rioting throughout the summer of 2020. And we said that's not going to happen here in the state of Florida. And we wanted to make sure that we were able to.
Remember, this is the state of stand your ground, right? This is stand your ground case where you can kill a child. When you can kill a child who's walking home. And because that child bested you real quick in fighting for his life, because a child bested you and fought for his life, you shoot that child and you can walk free and then go off and make money signing packs of Skittles and all the other things you're doing, right? So that's what this state is. This is what this state is, right?
Protect the people of our great state, people's businesses and property against any type of...
Yeah, he said it. They don't even tuck it. They don't even hide it. Protecting people's businesses and property.
Of mob activity or violent assemblies. And so we had a bold vision. We worked with President Wilton Simpson and Speaker Chris Sprouse to get it done. They were able to successfully do it. And so we're here today being prepared now to sign that bill into law.
So this is very aggressive. Ooh, I didn't mean to do that. Whoa, what did I click on? This is very aggressive legislation. And thank you, Old Man Rand. Everyone gets worked up. You should get worked up. We should be getting worked up. So very aggressive legislation. We need to watch out for this. This is something like when you watch other states, especially regressive states, we need to watch out for this. There was something on Twitter. Yeah. So this is my old boss, Cliff Albright, with Black Voters Matter, right? So these were his observations about this. Florida has passed an anti-protest bill granting civil legal immunity to people who drive through protesters blocking a road. It's literally a license to kill. So this is the framing you need to understand. It's not just, oh, well, he's making it hard to protest. No, it's literally a license to kill. This is why I go to Cliff's Twitter, because he says it very plainly and very cleanly. And some of its other provisions are equally horrid. HB 1 will be signed by baby Trump DeSantis, likely. Also, what you're seeing too. What's up, Justin? He says it out loud. Absolutely. Also, what you understand, DeSantis, I don't know how, but this goofball, because R.I.P. Andrew Gillum's career, because Andrew Gillum had him. Like, Andrew Gillum was such a great opponent. And I still think he should get a second shot. I'm not going to say that. We're not going to throw our black people away. Get a second shot. I do think Andrew Gillum was messy, but we're gonna do that. We're not throwing away black people. But what was exposed when Andrew Gillum ran for governor is how dumb, idiotic, and like he just wasn't skilled. Ron DeSantis is not a skilled politician, but for some reason now he's literally the front runner for president now. This right here, this absolutely is like, oh, I'm running in 2024. I'm running in 2024. Oh, this is definitely, and we saw the GOP even say that. Like in previous weeks, right? With certain other attacks on Florida. Oh no, DeSantis, oh, he's running, right? So let me also go here and read this. So this is what Cliff quote tweeted. This from his organization, Black Voters Matter, my former employer. For the state to say, we're going to criminalize your activity, we're going to criminalize your passion, we're going to criminalize your protest, that's not what democracy, I don't know why they spell criminalize like that. That's not what democracy looks like, right? So that's what Cliff said, right? So Cliff, yeah, it's crazy. It's crazy. I'm telling you, we're seeing things akin to what happened after civil rights with the ushering in of black codes and Jim Crow and convict leasing and this crazy 13th Amendment bullshit. We're seeing that in real time. I wanted to go back to the Slager thing because I talked about Slager on the front page, but I didn't play the clip. So let's go ahead and play the clip from local news about Slager's appeal, his petition being overturned.
Breaking news right now, a former North Charleston police officer who killed an unarmed man will not have his prison sentence over.
Peep the framing. Let's run it back. It's 25 seconds. Let's peep the framing, okay? Peep the framing. Love it.
Breaking news right now, a former North Charleston police officer who killed an unarmed man will not have his prison sentence overturned. Just into the newsroom, federal authorities have denied Michael Slager's petition, arguing that his lawyers were not effective during his trial after he shot and killed Walter Scott in 2015. Slager is currently serving a 20-year federal prison sentence.
For a civil rights violation, not for murder, not for manslaughter. Civil rights violation, just so y'all know that. All right, I'm trying to see if there was anything else that I wanted to play. Oh, this right here, this clip from this other city. So I think, again, like it's subtle things that get me, kind of launch me into rage. And this morning, this morning, happy birthday, Luther. Y'all can see my view history. Happy birthday, Luther. Thank you. Happy birthday. That's my way of just kind of centering myself. Okay, but this sent me into rage this morning. Was this something this simple? It's like we're in a country that's conditioned to do this. And I'm not going at the businesses. I'm just saying this is the country we live in.
in Minnesota could have an impact here in the Bay Area. Businesses in San Francisco and Oakland wasting no time. You see a lot of boarded up windows here.
This Oakland, y'all. This ain't down the street. This ain't Indiana. This ain't no neighboring states to Minnesota. This Oakland.
The jury deliberates. A lot of windows already boarded up in both cities. Let's bring in Jessica Aguirre now with that part of the story. Jessica.
Raj, it is such a tentative time right now across the country and here in the Bay Area as well. And now a lot of the businesses that over the summer boarded up are finding themselves doing the very same thing again because they're just unsure of what's going to happen.
So imagine like expecting the outcome to be unfavorable. Imagine it like we live in a country that knows that if this man is found not guilty, we like, you know, that it's going to prompt a certain response. Imagine living in a country where like, I don't know if that makes any sense to people, like if that gets under people's skin or that bothers people as much as it bothers me, but we live in a country where people expect black people to be denied justice. Does that make sense? It's a scary cycle for sure, Jazz, for sure. Same Facade, you said something. The ways in which the political class prioritized businesses and corporations over public safety over the pandemic. Yeah, it was a big red flag. Well, it was a big underscoring of what what you knew intuitively, what you know to be true. Same Facade, for sure. I absolutely agree. Right. It's crazy. I'm just
next, and they need to do it ahead of any potential unrest. These are difficult times in San Francisco.
So I want to know, like, if businesses in Charleston, has anyone seen anyone board up anything there downtown? Like, I haven't been on Upper King or anything like that. It pisses me off too. I haven't seen anything like that. I haven't driven downtown in a minute, so I don't know. But yeah, I thought that was, let me see what there was something here before I head off. Yeah. Oh wow. Let me see real quick. Oh, PGA, y'all. PGA is getting ready to gear up. Yep. Yeah, I don't think there was anything else that I wanted to talk about. Not sorry. Started off just really emotional, trying to do two things at once, trying to talk on Instagram, until I decide whether or not we're going to just live stream directly to Instagram. Yeah, it's just really infuriating. I think the way right now, it just feels like too familiar. It feels too similar to last time. And I don't know. I'm feeling a lot like I'm avoiding Upper King too. I think if you're not going to be out there leading protests, there's a lot of news we need to talk about. Charleston redistricting. Oh, it's a lot. Redistricting. There's a lot we should talk about, but we'll talk about it tomorrow. This trial has got me on pins and needles. I don't know if deliberation will go into a third day, but I'm really tense and I'm really thinking of black people right now, and it felt violent because just like after Mother Emanuel, things just keep moving forward in this city, and there's not really that pensive moment of reflection. Nothing really shuts down. Like, it would have been great to see the mayor say that, hey, we're opening up this space as a place for healing, a place to come and meditate and talk and discourse and dialogue, as opposed to coming out and trying to make these for our mayor to kind of come out and say, no, we've gotten ahead of this. We've got black clergy here. Look at the black people that we told to come to this press conference. I don't need representation, right? We know representation is not harm reduction. We actually need reform. We need people to speak to the injustices that we're currently seeing. We've got disgusting pages, and I'm not talking about that meme page, the one that's mildly funny. I'm talking about that other page, that East Side page on Instagram. We've got pages like that where they're showcasing an element of Charleston, and it's literally just there to serve the police. Like, it's literally there just to serve the police and to racialize poverty and to racialize crime and criminality and make it black, right? And have no care, no regard for the mentally impaired, for the impoverished, for people pushed into certain lifestyles or actions because of the inequity that is here in Charleston. And I just see like this is just going on and on and on, over and over and over again here in Charleston, and no one is actually, I don't know what it is. I don't know what it is. I'm not I kind of talked about it in another live, Kia, about the East Side page that everybody's following. Like, the sheriff follows the page, and it's a bunch of gross like door camera footage and things. Like, I don't know how a normal person would have access to so much video captured either from private property or from public spaces, but it's a page that's supposedly trying to shed a light on what the mayor has turned its back on the East Side. But they go and they put a microphone in front of a bunch of black people's faces who, you know, without framing the issue, without care or concern. It's very extractive, it's very exploitative, and it's very demeaning. To see like a black woman just talk about something without knowing that she's being used to frame an issue, right? No one likes crime. No one likes homelessness. No one likes when black people commit crimes. No one likes when black people do things that cause harm. No one likes that, right? But you put a mic in front of her face and not really do a real critical analysis on why things are the way they are. Just painting it as, oh, these bodies are doing bad things. Not these bodies were put in a position to where they can only do these things because their options are so very few and limited, right? Not to remove black people's agency, but we do know there are socioeconomic conditions that breed crime, that breed a lot of mental illness and unrest and whatnot. And so the page, I don't even know, and I'm not gonna respond or say what the page is, but the page is designed to it's also designed to try to attack the mayor. So we know that the aim of the page is to say that the mayor is not solving a very real issue. But what you're doing that at the cost of black bodies. It actually, this is the funny part. This gonna sound weird to people. That East Side page on Instagram, that East Side page is oddly, it feels a lot like the white activism here in Charleston, even though I know that that's somebody probably Harry Griffin adjacent. I'm thinking someone who has a real grievance against the mayor, either Harry Griffin or white people adjacent, or white nationalists adjacent. It resembles a lot of, because I saw all the white liberals who are following the page. I'm like, well, damn, you a white liberal, you following this page don't make you uncomfortable? And the amount of comfort that, let me see, you know what? Let me see. Before I hop off, let me see. I don't want to show the page, but let's see. Let me see it. They might have blocked us from it. They might have blocked us. Is this it? No, this ain't it. No. They might have blocked us. I talked about it in a live, and they had so many. They had followed me, and then I had like, oh my gosh, because I think somebody reached out to me and was trying to find it. It was so super gross. It was super gross. Let me see something. I'm gonna let that cook for a second. No. It's a really gross page where they go on the East Side and have all these. No, that's no. Nah. Anyway, I can't find it. No, I know, Kia, you like I've already called it out, and it's very violent. I don't take any joy in displaying that page. I was just gonna show it though. to kind of, it was just really gross. I think some folks follow. I don't know. I can't even remember even what it's called. It's just something East Side. But it's I talked about it on an IG live some time ago. But yeah, it's really gross. But it looks like, because I saw so many white liberal people following it, people who follow my page following it, who identify as being sympathetic to Black Lives Matter, I knew that like that's the thing. Like there's this lack of, there's this disconnect. There's this refusal to really invest in a political education so that you can make the distinction between, like, it's not even shitty philanthropy. It was just really gross. Like really gross. And I've seen how people engage with spaces like Joseph Floyd Manor, and even that philanthropy felt very extractive and very exploitative, right? Where you put the camera or the microphone in front of these impoverished people's faces, but like, and then like, okay, you wrote a book and some of the proceeds go. No, there should be no profiting off of this, right? There should be no profiting off of this. If it's not by you, if the you know, like, it was so gross what like Enough Pie did in Joseph Floyd Manor. And I'm like, okay, so you're calling attention to this impoverished pocket of Charleston, but what are you doing to challenge the systems that keep those people in that building of disrepair? What are you doing to keep about the issues and the conditions that keep those people literally like in a prison of poverty? Like, what are you doing to change the material conditions of those folks? Like, no, okay, you just want to, well, let's just talk to them. And let's have a Black host talk to them. And this is the city we live in, where they get a lot of Black influencers to do the work of the nonprofit industrial complex. And it's charity, it's not change. It's charity, it's not change. But yeah, it's not about like, and it's less about the page as much as it's about like the sentiment here in Charleston. That's the appetite for things like that, the appetite for salacious, the appetite for real, like, just, I was starting to really, performative allyship and shit like that. Like, it's really starting to weigh on me in ways that I didn't think that it will weigh on me in in this, not even year two. I've been here since I moved back. It's really starting to weigh on me how much, like, the more I fight, the smaller my voice gets. Like, and that's, it shows you how real, y'all. I'm telling you, look what happened to me. Look, like, this has been happening. This is just one latest incident. This is the one I woke up to. Let me see if I can find it. This is one thing that I woke up to this morning. Let me see. Yeah. This is what I woke up to this morning. So I posted a picture. I used the Bear Spray Messenger's picture that he posted himself, him outside of the insurrection. And this is the caption, right? This is it. So this has been going on IG. This has been going on Facebook. This has been going on. All my content gets reported, right? And so it's suppressed by reach, and that's whatever, right? And so I'm seeing that. I'm seeing it in real time, like these attacks. And some of these attacks, I think it's Black men too. I ain't gonna lie. Cause I ain't no fan of Black MAGA. Even though I would never report Shakim's page, I just would unfollow it and block him from mine. But I would never report I would never report Lewis's page. I would never report Elvin Space's page. I would never report any of the Black conservatives. I would just never Black MAGA. I would never report their page. Right? I would never call the police on them. I would never I would never do that. I use my platform. I speak what I speak. I'm not in line with them politically. I think they do a lot of things that cause black people harm. But I do know that there's also, this is mostly white supremacy, right? Oh, y'all can't see it. My bad. Hold on. I'm sorry. I didn't switch. I'm so used to talking. All right. So yeah. So this is what happened. This is what I woke up to this morning. And so I'm sorry. I was talking without switching. My bad. Yeah. Yeah, Charity, Jermaine Jenkins from Fresh Future Farms, she damn right. Jermaine is damn right. Charity is not solidarity. Absolutely. Right? So, but yeah, so this is what I wake up to. Like the suppression, the constant reporting of my page, the no one else can see your post. We have these standards to prevent and disrupt offline harm. You tell me what I said in this post. Tell me what I said in this post is anything akin to participating in insurrection, right? I even wrote white different so I wouldn't get flagged, right? So like I know Bear Spray Messenger isn't referring to me. He referred to me as a lynch mob. Me and a bunch of people that Erica tagged, right? As a lynch mob. He literally participated in insurrection with a literal lynch mob, with Oath Keepers, with 3%ers, with all of those, right? Well, all of those militias who are training for a civil war right now, right? Right? So, and I said the word troll. I'm like, you literally at the Capitol participating in insurrection. And this got reported and removed from Facebook. So you just take this times maybe like 100. That's what's happening to me on Instagram right now too, right? So, and I'm not saying I'm the only voice that matters in Charleston. I'm just saying, damn. It's really hard, y'all, to keep doing this every day. It's really hard. It's really hard to keep doing this every day. And because I really want justice, right? I really want justice. It's so funny. I'm gonna go to my page. I really, really, really want justice. And things like this, like getting no traction, right? Like curating interviews, nothing, like just compared to like my followers, like getting very little traction. When last summer it was, you know, of course white people's interest was high or whatever, but just very little traction, right? Right? And I mean, yeah, it might not be the most riveting thing, right? And then you go to be in, it's not a competition, it's just like, and then you see what gets traction, right? What people really respond to, right? And this is not. I want people to understand that I'm not anti any other leader in Charleston, any other black leader except for Black MAGA. So this is not about Marcus. But I'm not Marcus, and I'm saying that in a way just to make the distinction. That's number one. Number two, you see like black men led things are received different, right? This is received as leadership, right? And it is leadership, but other stuff isn't. You feel what I'm saying? And like the harder I work. And this is why a lot of my work right now, y'all, this is why a lot of my work has to exist outside of Charleston, because I get nothing from here. I get the backlash already started, right? And so it's really hard. It's really hard to keep creating here. It's really hard. I don't know how else to say it. I know I'm not perfect, but I know that there are things that I say that are rooted in something higher than me, deeper than me, better than me, bigger than me, stronger than me. And it doesn't. Y'all want to rally. Yeah, y'all want to rally. Y'all don't want change, y'all want rallies. It's real tough to keep doing this here. It is real tough. So I'm gonna end it there. Like, I really, 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 really want this city to change. I need this city to change. I need us to stop getting up for the protests, and I need us to start really focusing on it. Like, no one comes and like I got friends. I've got y'all on Twitch who really come every morning and support. It's such a small portion versus like the scores and scores of people who have come out. Like, you know, when you work and you've got 10,000 contacts and they all just jump ship. Because when you start centering Black liberation and you start telling them that this is going to put you in a position where you're going to have to lose something, you'll see how quick white people, how frail and fragile white solidarity is. And that's why you can't build movements off of white magnanimity, right? You can't build movements off of when white folk decide to act right. You've got to build it around your people. And when you constantly get up and you keep working and you fight and you're at a radio station who don't support your work outside of just letting you be on there, won't even give you a key to the damn radio station, and they don't promote you. Every time I create, like, it's a thing about indifference that's so violent. Of when you constantly say things, and then I'll meet somebody at the post office, or I'll meet somebody at my mailbox, or I'll meet somebody at the grocery store who says, oh, keep talking, but y'all don't know how much it takes to keep talking and to avoid. And to people who have chosen to move on, and who only want the rallies, who only want the performative. They don't want to do the work. And it's so hard to keep screaming into a void, and then like to have our pain and trauma be treated as some sort of fucking destination for voyeurism. You know what I mean? For y'all to watch us in anguish. Like, it broke me down to see a 13-year-old killed on video. It broke me down reading about the Black bodies in this state from 2015 to present day, the Black and brown bodies and bodies killed by police, and nobody is saying anything. But we want to go to a rally to look like than we are about like, hey Mika, when's the next going to get together and we're going to talk about the bills that are pending legislation, and which lawmakers we need to start, you know, getting on, and how do we need to show up, right? Instead of that, it's a whole 365 days later almost, and we still doing the same thing that we did last year. And it feels like the most violent thing I've ever. This is why I ran out of Charleston when I graduated high school. Being denied jobs, little and only jobs I could get were at Walmart and stuff. And then when I come back as a 30-something-year-old with education and certificates and all this other stuff and experience and all of that, still, oh, you can make 30,000. I made 30,000 since I graduated college. Like, what? I got transferable skills. Like, this city hates this body. This area hates this body. Hates not just mine, but it hates fat Black women. It hates Black women who draw outside the lines. It hates vocal Black women, so much so that my people are starting to like, well, I don't know if Mika's a risk. I don't know if you're safe. I'm gonna distance myself from Mika. Right? All the Black leaders who have the active conversations about how they're not gonna call me. And I've been where you've been. I've been everywhere they've been. I've been already. Everywhere they've been, I've already been. And to not be like, to constantly just have to fight this fight is so frustrating. And then like you think every day you bring on people, you bring on brilliant people to help you with your message. You bring on brilliant people to help you with your newsletter. You bring on brilliant people to help you with your Twitch stream. You bring on brilliant people to help you with software. You consult brilliant people to help you with what mics you need, what interfaces you need. You bring on brilliant people to tell you what to do. You bring on brilliant people to strategize and scheme with you. And all just like, okay, we do all of this and still I'm at the starting line. Cause y'all want to rally. And it ain't about me. Like, I'm not trying to, like, I know I don't want to sound like, woe was Mika, but it really is frustrating, y'all. I'm getting reported every day by white nationalists. I appreciate y'all in the comments. Y'all, we got an issue with use of force, as I said way back in 2019 on radio. We got an issue with our cops moving, our law enforcement moving in a way where they can take the life of anyone, black or white, young or old, and not be held accountable for it. What is it, like 11,000 cops across the country kill 11,000 people a year, and you might get a dozen convictions? You do the math on that. Yesterday, I spent a lot of time talking about SLED and how SLED and Nikki Haley and other lawmakers crafted legislation where it prevents local law enforcement from having to release body cam footage. We also learned, if you didn't know, because I didn't know until this weekend, till Fleming Smith called me, didn't know that these body cams that they sign into law, a lot of these programs aren't funded, and so there are law enforcement agencies that don't even have body cameras, right? All right, so we learned that, you know, we got amazing powerhouse legislation being passed down now, albeit they're in states that are blue and different, places like Maryland, places like New Jersey, even Iowa. Even Iowa has strengthened their legislation around use of force, right? And we're not even talking about that as a legislative move here. We're still talking about rallies, right? Right? And so while I think we need to have the rallies, we definitely need to demonstrate, we got to start seeing some move. And just like if y'all wanted a park, if white folk wanted a park, a pedestrian bridge and all that, it would happen. It would happen. And so whenever you want black liberation and you want the cops to stop killing us, whenever white folks is tired of cops killing us, because they're killing y'all too. Whenever we want to start moving toward change, appreciate the support. I really do appreciate the support. I really do. I'm gonna go back and read the chat on Twitch later. Why y'all asking about the glitterati? Because I use that word. Why y'all asking about the glitterati? Oh, yeah, the boutique owning glitterati. Glitterati can be for anybody. I just called them that. We got a black glitterati here too. But the boutique owning white Southern Charm glitterati. Yeah. They run things. Yeah. All right. So that's it. I'm frustrated, but you know, especially after seeing Maxine Waters get disrespected. Like, they always try to make an example out of us. And like I'm telling y'all, I'm reading this book. This was my bookmark. I didn't want to shame myself, but I just pulled it out. I'm reading this book, and Charleston makes an appearance in this book. A few. And when you learn about how black women how black women, how their legacy, how their work and contributions become marginalized, and how their bodies were abused and misused and demeaned and just experimented on. I mean, when you read about what black women have led and endured, and then you hear a judge fix his mouth to single out the loudest, a loud voice, a highly visible person, but out of all the voices you could have said, and he could have kind of masked it and peppering in some other voices, right? He could have masked his contempt. He could have masked his disdain by peppering in a couple of other white voices or anybody else, but he chose to make a black woman an example. And I'm telling y'all, this world hates a free black woman. It really doesn't. It's not me trying to create a narrative. That's me living in this body and knowing how I get treated for saying something as plainly as Tyler Bessinger participated in an insurrection. Here's a picture of him that he posted of himself participating in insurrection. Oh, you're banned and blocked. Okay. Hey, this meme page is not taking into account the black people who don't want their neighborhood to be called a plantation because they remember when it wasn't a plantation. Oh, you're banned and blocked. You're shadow banned. Your stories are only going to reach 100 people. You got 10,000 followers, but your stories only reach 100 people in 24 hours. You're banned and you're blocked. Let's have a rally. Let's have a rally. We get up for rallies. We don't get up for reform and justice. Right? Yeah. All right. That's it. Thanks for listening. I didn't mean to get emotional, but I don't care. Thanks for listening. I'm gonna read the chat. I appreciate you, D, Kia, Jazz, Same Facade, Old Man Ran, Be Manic. I appreciate everybody for chiming in. Y'all have a great day, okay? Hold space for black people. Please don't bombard black people with a bunch of messages. Just be there for black people right now. Be there for black people. Understand that this is a tense time, all right? It's a tense week. It's a tense time, not just nationally, but here in Charleston. It's a tense time, okay? So have some grace and space, create some space for black people. You're not always entitled to black people's pain and trauma and grief, so just give them space. And sometimes you can just give them things and gift them peace of mind, in a way that doesn't, check in with them first. Like, is it okay if I talk with you today? Is it okay if I check in regarding the trial? Is it okay if I check in about the headlines? Ask them first before you send off that message. Is really important, because somebody scared the shit out of me yesterday. Somebody I love scared the shit out of me yesterday. So just ask black people first before you just start talking and launching into Black Lives Matter stuff. Ask them, is it